I'd probably say over the last 20 years, I've helped at least well over 70 people do shows. I mean, whether, you know, they're 21 or in their 50s, realize that not only is it never too late to get in the best shape of your life, but also that it's possible.
I don't want a restaurant. I don't want something, you know, I want something that I can enjoy on a daily basis, you know, dealing with people, you know, building rapport with people.
This personal trainer came up to me and he says, how can I help you? The first thing I saw was like, this guy was just, you know, he was humongous. And I was like, yeah, look at you and look at me, you know, I guess I wanted to see my body change.
The name of the guy, but he started passing pictures around, you know, how he was before and after and all that. And like, that really got me motivated, you know, like I was like, maybe like later on I wanna do like bodybuilding, you know, I wanna be a muscle man like that. So it's me and him, right? And he starts kind of posing, he's going at it. I'm like, you know what, man, forget this, you know. In my mind I'm like, you know what, I can't be nervous, man, this is showtime, right? So I'm like, you know what, man, at that point, like, it just came on, like that nervousness, that feeling that I have of insecurity and stuff being on stage, it all went away. And
I'm Garza, founder of Pureline Nutrition Company. For as long as I can remember, 10, 15 years probably, I've taken groups of guys and girls and put them through crazy nutrition and training and supplementation programs and gotten them ready for physique shows, fitness shows, figure shows, bodybuilding shows. And you know, this year I kind of realized that I never really have taken anybody on that journey. And I talked to some of the guys that are around me every day and I said, you know what, why don't we take a group of 7 competitors and actually show everybody out there how much dedication, discipline, determination, and drive, as well as knowledge, it takes to get people from point A to point Z and get them on a stage competing against other people who are trying to change their bodies and look awesome. It's not an easy road to follow, and it requires stringent dieting, it requires intense hours, training, cardio, and some really rigorous supplementation to get your body in the best shape possible. But that's what people do year in and year out to compete in the NPC and the IFBB and all those shows around the nation that require you look your best on stage. So join me as we take this journey of 7 people from the amateur to the pro level and take them all the way through a 20-week training program. And maybe, if you're up to it, get inspired to do it yourself.
I'm 28 years old. I'm married. Recently had a baby. She's 4 months already. Wow. Yeah, they grow fast. Personal trainer at Iron Body. I've been doing this for about 10 years already, full time. So one of my cousins, Peter, he would always be like in shape. So, you know, I started getting into lifting weights around 8th grade. We started like working out there with the little weights that we had there, like outside his house and stuff. And it wasn't really serious, you know, it was just like workout. You want to look good, you want to look good in a shirt, stuff like that. But then later on, when it really got serious, I started getting into more like, you know, lifting weights, eating better and stuff like that. And I remember going to the gym and people would tell me like, hey, why don't you compete and stuff like that? And I was like, nah, I don't know, I just want to look good, right? That's all, like, that's why I'm doing it. And they would tell me, like, constantly tell me, like, here and there, like, hey, you should compete, you should compete. I was like, nah, you know, like, maybe, like, I started, you know, they started getting into my head. So I was like, maybe, like, if they're telling me that I should compete, maybe I should, right? Like, you know, everyone is chasing for that pro card, like the bodybuilder's main goal to become a pro. I feel like I'm just there. I feel like, you know, I can taste it already. I just feel like I need some minor details that I need to work on. I'm very stubborn when it comes to stuff like that. You know, I'm not really someone that likes to take criticism. Like, you should do this, you should do that. But in this sport, you should be open to that. You should be open to constructive criticism. And obviously, I mean, I did a good choice with letting Aaron take the lead, you know, and guiding me. Past competition I did, it was only an 8-week prep. I wasn't taking much supplements, you know. I needed still a little bit more like dryness, more conditioning to have taken that win, you know. And that's why I decided to let go of my knowledge and my ego per se, and just let someone else take care of it.
So Israel Guyona, this guy, I'm really excited to be working with this physique. Talk about a nice, well-balanced and proportioned physique from all angles. This guy's got great quads and hamstring development. He's got great arm development, great shoulder development, great chest development. Everything is balanced. I mean, he's got a very good, solid physique. He's done a lot of time. He's trained very hard, you can tell. But what we need to do is, again, bring this body up to the next level. He's a lightweight competitor in bodybuilding, and with lightweights, we have to be really careful about breaking them into the middleweight class. So what we want to do is just try to keep him as heaviest as possible in the lightweight category. We can do some damage, but at the same time, create the illusion of size through building more dimension in his body. So from the front, you know, the first thing I want to do, take a look at his front double bicep. If I can build a little bit more thickness, a little more size in his biceps, basically bringing that bicep peak over the shoulder when he's posing, it's going to create a better look on stage. It's also going to help balance out his body a little bit. Legs, he's got great quads, so we're going to continue to work on that. Keep them exactly where they are, just get them a little more refined, a little harder, so that his upper body and lower body match really well. But from the back, his back double biceps, like I said, again, I want to bring up the arms a little bit. One of the things that I see a lot of times in guys is sometimes they don't do a lot of brachialis work, and I have Israel focusing a lot on just hitting brachialis once a week so that we can bring up the overall arm size just by working on that. Just overall, very pleasing body. He's going to do some damage at the lightweight division in the Europa bodybuilding. He might transition over to classic physique or classic bodybuilding, I should say. He has a really, you know, pretty look that can either go both ways, but I think for right now we're just going to work on building more dimension, creating a little bit more thickness in certain areas while keeping the waist small, and then just bringing him dry, tight, and hard once we get to about 12 to 13 weeks out and really start hanging on the diet a little bit. But for right now, you know, the guy's got a lot of potential. I'm really excited about working with this physique.
I was a United States Border Patrol agent. It's totally different than any other job. You know, you gotta be, first of all, you gotta be in shape to work out in the terrain. And you work 24 hours any shift. I ended up there 10 years. It was fun. You know, did a lot of, a lot of rescues. Got to see a lot of things, you know, good and bad. You know, just like anything comes with the job. I ended up in McAllen, Texas. I lateral to a United States Deputy U.S. Marshal. There in McAllen. That's how I met Aaron. I went to the store. I remember they had just opened Pureline Nutrition there. I went to check out the store, you know. So I started sending people, you know, from the agency. I mean, eventually I got into, I bought into the franchise, you know. So I left my career pretty much, but this is my passion, man. This is what I like doing. I don't want a restaurant. I don't want something, you know, I want something that I can enjoy on a daily basis, you know, dealing with people, you know, building rapport with people. Meeting different people all the time, helping people out. I've always been a competitor, you know. That's the thing. Since I was a little kid, I like sports, and I like the challenge. Pretty much is the challenge. I like the challenge. I'm a competitor. The first show I did it back in, I think it was 2013, and Aaron actually helped me for that prep. And I mean, I picked the toughest show, man. I picked the Houston show. It was the field heat. But I wanted to do that one to see where I was, you know. I wanted to see how, like, I wanted to be, like I said, I'm a competitor. I wanted to compete against the best. The last show I did was McAllen this year, where I placed first place in the Masters. But before this one, I did my first national show in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That was an eye-opener. Of course, that was my first show, but it was a national show. And that's the goal, man. That's the goal, to get back to there. I mean, right now, this whole thing, we're prepping for Dallas. Like I said, Aaron helped me in the first show. Then I kind of went on my own, but we kept together. I mean, we're business associates. So this year, like I said, we got together a team, man. And I talked to Aaron and said, you know what, let's make a team, dude. I got several guys here. They're good guys. They competed, but we need more help. We need more help, you know, for the guidance. But he's a competitor. everybody's done real well. Not only that, as we're going through the whole prep, they're gonna see where we're at right now, how we're evolving, you know, not only in our bodies but mentally, how nutrition and supplementation play a big part.
All right, so with Joe Garcia here, you know, you got a guy, he's got a lot of shoulder thickness, a lot of bulk and density through the medial and the front deltoid. That's just probably a genetic thing. His body responds very well, or his shoulders, I should say, respond very well to training. Now, one thing that happens when you've got guys with bigger shoulders is a lot of times you take a lot of the stress, the shoulders take a lot of the stress and tension away from the arms. So the shoulders tend to grow, but the arms kind of stay in the same place because they're not being worked as hard. So one of the things we're going to do is really kind of limit his shoulder training to a point. We're still going to train them, but limit the amount of tension by focusing more on biceps and triceps and really building the arms up a little bit more so we've got more flow. Now from the back, this guy's got a very thick back spread. I should say, you know, this is a male physique competitor who has competed at the national level, placed in the top 5 in the master's category. So he's done pretty well. But more than anything, we're going to work on conditioning and refining what he has. So you're not going to see him get too much bigger, except in the arm area, maybe the lower lat area and upper chest, but you are going to see his body kind of take a different shape over the next several weeks. So that's one of the things we're going to really work on. And then, of course, with him, the goal is to just get him as dry and hard and conditioned as possible. You know, as long as I can remember, probably since I was in high school, before the world of internet and social media and all that stuff, I would pick up muscle magazines. You know, I would read all about the guys and how they train. I was just enthralled with, you know, the sections in the back about Muscle Beach and Venice, and you know, I was just amazed with these guys, these powerful guys that, you know, had tans and were in shape and just looked like they were living the life, you know. So ever since I was in high school, you know, I was just drawn to that. Weight training just was a natural thing, you know. I started working out and noticing my body respond really well. And, you know, I've always been kind of a book nerd. I've always been very studious, and I sought out as much information as I could find at that time. And through college, you know, I worked at a supplement store just about that time, probably the late 90s, the real beginning stages of the whole supplement industry and the boom. And you know, I worked at a store and I really enjoyed helping people. You know, I always say I was getting my degree in business, but I was really learning business every day that I was out working at this nutrition store. After college, you know, I moved to my hometown, McAllen, Texas, and I actually went into business for myself and started a small supplement store. Every day, you know, I would help people out and just kind of work with them and figure out ways for them to lose weight and improve their body based on the nutrition science that I had read, or, you know, anything that I had researched. And it was kind of like my own lab, you know. I got to try and see what products would work, what supplements didn't work, and we would go from there. Eventually, I realized that in order to really make an impact on people's body, I was going to have to really be a little bit more detailed about the products and the supplements that I was recommending and what I was utilizing, even for myself. That's how I got into supplementation, you know. I really started figuring out what products work for people. I competed at a high level for many years, took second at the Nationals in '94. My wife competed in figure and fitness. It was just, you know, part of us, and it was natural for us to get into the supplement industry and start working with a team of developers and manufacturers and chemists to put together a line of products and supplements that I knew would work in the correct dosages. And that's kind of how I got to where I'm at today with Pureline Nutrition. And, you know, even though I've stopped competing for years now, I've always found people that were willing to put in the work and willing to put in the effort, and who desired the right guidance to create their best physique. And that's where we stand today. We still help people through supplementation, training, and nutrition knowledge, and we help people get in the best shape, whether they're looking to lose a little weight or they want to be competitive and get on stage.
I wasn't meant to be, you know, behind a desk all day inside, you know, where I would work, because sometimes I would go in the morning and then go back out of the office when the sun was down and stuff like that. So I said, you know what, that's not something that I see myself doing for the rest of my life. I don't want to be behind a desk or in an office. You know what, it got to a point where I wanted to do something else, and And I was always interested in law enforcement, right? I decided, you know what, I want to go with Border Patrol. I liked it. I would see him around and stuff, and I thought it was pretty cool that he had all that freedom to be out and about. I remember I got this presentation with the Special Operations Division. So I did that, and I said, you know what, I want to be a well-rounded agent, you know, learn my stuff, learn what I do before I try to do anything else. So I started training for that, and the first year I went out, tried out for selection. I hurt myself, came back, and you know, to me it was devastating because I was not really used to failing at anything. Usually everything that I want to do, you know, thanks to God, I've always accomplished. You know, it's always been good. But I think I learned a lesson there that it's like, even though you don't get it the first time, I mean, you keep trying until you get it. You know, you keep going forward, and you just won't stop, you know, until you get your goal. When I got in contact with Joe through Israel, you know, we met up, and I said, hey man, you know what, I want to do this. This is my goal. I want to bodybuild. What do you recommend? And I love the product. You know, I felt the results. I started noticing my body changing. I started noticing how well my body responded with the different products I was taking. I was taking Hypodex. I was taking the protein, and I felt I was even recovering a lot faster with the BCAAs that I was taking. But when I started incorporating the recoveries, the BCAAs, the creatine, the Hypodex, and all that stuff to help me, I guess, recover a lot faster, it just made it easier for me. It just made it a lot easier. So I said, you know what, if I could do this, I'm gonna push harder and try to go as far as I can. You know, we reached out to Joe and said, hey man, we have this team going. We wanna perform at a certain level. He's like, yeah man. He put us in contact with Aaron, and he decided that he was gonna give us a plan. He was gonna help us out. He was gonna coach us. The main goal, the main focus is gonna be at Europa in June. So, I mean, 20 weeks out, we're gonna go ahead and dominate the stage. I have no doubt.
All right, Peter Salinas, definitely a bodybuilder. This is somebody who, you know, I really enjoy working with bodybuilders. This is something that I did. And you know, when I look at Peter, he's got a very solid structure overall. It's a very thick, powerful physique. He's done very well in a lot of shows here in Texas, but going into the Europa, we're just gonna have to create a bigger, badder, more dense, more refined, more shredded version that he's ever brought to stage before. Looking at him right off the bat, you know, again, he's somebody who we need to just bring up overall. You know, I look at his body from the front, great physique, great structure. Definitely, again, we just need more volume all the way around so that when he steps on stage, that volume creates the illusion of size. Even though he's a shorter guy, he still has size and volume and muscle fullness and roundness. And when you have that muscle fullness and roundness while at the same time having extremely good conditioning, you're going to notice on stage, and he's going to look even bigger than he really is. His front double bicep, he's got great arms. You know, something I always look at is balance. Looks like his left bicep's a little bigger than his right bicep. Those are things that you can fix. You just got to look at that objectively, or have somebody look at that and say, hey, what do we need to do to fix this? I would probably say in these pictures, he's probably between 14 to 15% body fat, which is where I like to keep athletes. I don't want them to go over 14%. He's in a good place, but we definitely need to keep an eye on that waist area, make sure it doesn't get any thicker. In fact, we need to work on bringing the entire body up but keeping the waist small and tight. He's got a lot of thickness, and it looks like his arms and shoulders develop all in a pretty balanced fashion. But when you've got a short torso, or you've got a short line from the neck down to the waist, you want to make sure that you're improving the thickness and also the density of the mid-back, because that's going to give the illusion of kind of separation and concaveness that's going to make the body on stage look bigger than it really is. Overall though, he's got a lot of good size to work with. I think we're going to see some really awesome things over the next 18 to 20 weeks with Peter.
Alan Gutierrez. Everybody knows me as Tiger. I'm originally from Puerto Rico. I was actually raised here in Laredo. When I graduated from high school, continued my education in Guadalajara, Jalisco, I went up to this local gym. This personal trainer came up to me and he says, how can I help you? And you know, the first thing I saw was like, this guy was just, you know, he was humongous, and I was like, yeah, look at you and look at me. You know, I guess I wanted to see my body change, you know. At that point, I never thought that, you know, eating was going to be a key factor in regards to me picking up some weight and building up some mass. So as the process evolved, you know, he started educating me a little bit more. He started spending more time, and that's where I got hooked on it. I look at time management. How much time is it going to consume on my end? You know, how much time am I going to have to devote to my family? So I got to put everything in a balance in order for it to come out right. Because if you're actually spending more time in a certain area, it's going to affect a different area. You know, and the one I didn't want to get affected was my family. You know, family comes first. To me, it fit my needs. Like it was just right. It was the right timing. Like I said, I don't want to say that I'm almost there, but I know I'm just a few steps there. There's a few things that I have to tweak, that I have to correct, and like I said, me taking a sideline, it don't matter. And in order for me to win, I gotta make sure that I prepare at my best, because I know that everybody that's gonna step on stage is gonna be at their best. So I gotta make sure that I'm above their effort. So I just gotta win.
So I've got Alan Gutierrez. This guy is a physique competitor who has a few shows behind him. He's got a little bit of experience. You know, what we're looking at here is a very classic male physique body. He's got enough proportion and density in the right areas, but essentially what we need to see is the body just come up as a whole. What we're starting to see in physique competition all over the United States is guys are just getting bigger and bigger. The standards have gone from a smaller athletic look to a more thick presence on stage, and you know, some people like that, some people don't like that. The bottom line is they are judging based on that, so that's something that we have to fix going into Alan's prep. One of the things I look at right away is look at the way that the shoulders are held, or the way that the shoulders kind of form out the body, so that we can create the dimension that we need to have a really nice V taper. He's got wide clavicles, he's got good shoulder structure, but we need to work on just bringing everything up from up here, chest, shoulders, arms, the entire upper, you know, torso area. A more thick, round, three-dimensional look needs to be obtained by him if we're going to make a difference, if we're actually going to get on stage and make an impact. He's got great proportion, it's just bringing everything up together so one area doesn't outsize another, and we create a really symmetrical and aesthetic look to the body. From the back, you know, we've got a lot of thickness overall. We can use more. One of the things I like to look at also is structural issues. You know, do I see an area that's off? Do I see musculature that may have some kind of knot in it, or something that's preventing the physique from looking balanced and aesthetic on stage? In his case, you know, the way he's standing kind of shows me that he probably has a little bit of an issue with his right shoulder. He's got some tightness going on through his rhomboids, so that's something we need to work out over the next few weeks so we can create a nice clean look on stage, very balanced. But overall, you know, he's got a good foundation. We just need to really take it to the next level, bring everything up so that when he steps on stage at the Europa, we see some really dramatic changes, and the judges can see that as well. So that's what we'll be working on with Alan over the next 18 to 20 weeks.
Once I'm in the Europa, I mean, there's no other thought in my mind than to win. I gotta make sure that I prepare at my best, because I know that everybody that's gonna step on stage is gonna be at their best.
Well, man, we want to take it to the next level. I said, you know what? If I can do this, I'm gonna push harder and try to go as far as I can. You know.
But not everyone understands, you know, you have people like backing you up, but they don't really understand, and you know, it's just you versus you. Like, you have to do it or you don't. Like, the way I see it is that if you're not waking up at 5 in the morning to do your cardio and eating your meals on time, your competition is.
Right there, baby. That's it, right there. Come on, Joe. Come on. That's it.
And I mean, if you think about it, I left a career, man. I left a career, a good career. I was almost 3 years out from retirement, you know, from my 20 years. So to give that out for this, I mean, I wouldn't change it.
How many people have you kind of worked with? How, if it's just a ballpark of people?
You know, it's funny, I was thinking about that last night. I was like, man, how many people have I helped do shows or get into, you know, competitive bodybuilding, physique? I've helped at least well over 70 people do shows. I mean, at the amateur level, at the pro level, you know, whether it means winning their pro card or getting people ready for even a local show. But with these guys, you know, it was a group of guys who really were serious about doing this. And, you know, I could see it in their eyes. These guys were hungry. They really wanted to do this. They had all competed several times. They just hadn't had the tools, or they weren't exposed to the tools that were necessary to take it to that very next level. I felt that the team here was just as disciplined, just as devoted to the craft, and I felt that they would put forth all the effort necessary to do their best on that day.